All right, so on the day you can expect to see an army of people turn up to the property. No, I'm a really big believer that's a pain in the butt. That on a floor plan doesn't make any sense, and we need to make sure the flow and the floor plan both make sense through your home, because that's how a buyer falls in love. Okay, so Foxy TV this week, we're going to run through some of our most frequently asked questions. So I'm on site, the team are working behind me, but we thought we'd take the opportunity to go through and answer those questions that come through, not just on at our consults, but also from our clients when they're locking jobs in. What is the most frequently asked? Okay, so the purpose changes depending on the property. We're either there to make sense of a floor plan, distract from all those love marks in a home that's been lived in for quite some time, where the investment in carpet and a repaint doesn't quite equate to what they're after as far as sale price, or to make a home look more fresh and appeal to a different demographic. They're the three main reasons that we are engaged by either a homeowner or a real estate agent. All right, again, cost is dependent on the property, but we have a price guide available on our website, very transparent with our pricing. Now, a 1-bedroom, 1 living home that needs a 1 living area, 1 dining, 1 outdoor space, the kitchen and a bathroom, that comes in for our business, they come in at $2,900. Could jump up to a 3-bedroom, 1 living area property, you're looking at $3,500. 4-bedroom, 2 living area property, that jumps up to $5,100. Anything bigger than that, I wouldn't be quoting off a floor plan. I would definitely be wanting to come on site to see if there's nooks and crannies. But as a guide, a 3-living, 5-bedroom home that has 2 outdoor spaces is going to come around $7,200. Now, that's inclusive of GST, and it is an 8-week hire. Now, we allocate 2 hours on site for a normal sized install. A tiny little unit, we still allocate 2 hours because access at units isn't ideal. So there is an access component that we need to consider. So we generally give a 2-hour slot. Now, if the property is huge, if the property has a really bad driveway, we try to get more people on site to allow it to sit at the 2-hour time frame. Sometimes stretches out to 3. Some days there's just don't go to plan, and we look at 4 or 5 hours. So our hire period is 8 weeks, and we do that intentionally because most homes we get a phone call at week 5 to collect the furniture because it's now going unconditional. So 8 weeks in general, but not normally. It's just basically until there's an unconditional contract. So we do have a clause in our terms and conditions about the early return of furniture. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. We price our contracts up 4 weeks paid, 4 weeks for free. Most homes need their furniture in there for at least 4 weeks unless you get a cash unconditional contract on week 1 where they're waiving their cooling off period. Now, that doesn't happen all that often. So most homes put furniture in for 4 weeks. We then price the second lot as 4 weeks free. We do that intentionally because then it allows us, without any sort of issues as far as refunds, all those sort of things, to be able to go in and collect the styling. So we get a phone call once it's unconditional to come back and collect the furniture. Ideally, well, the property can't settle with our furniture in it. So if you sell really quickly, we need to come back and collect the furniture. Pack up much faster than an install, normally around an hour. Lots of different ways to be able to get a quotation through our business. You can call, you can book in a consult, you can do it online, you can send a quote request online, you can jump on and have a look at the indicative pricing that's online, you can jump on Instagram, on Facebook. Basically, however a person needs to be able to do it, whether they want to talk to a person or not. I am the person that does not want to talk to anybody when I'm booking something in. So we have all of those different pathways available to have a quote booked in. This is a tricky one. This is a tricky one because it is your home and it's your asset, and you obviously have thoughts and feelings and you know how you've lived in the property. So whilst you can definitely let us know things that you would love to see, it doesn't always translate to how we're going to install it. Now, there are a couple of reasons. The way you live in your home isn't generally going to be the best way to set it up for sale. The way we market a home versus the way we live in it, they're completely different things. So where you might use the front room as the living room because it's noisy, and you want to use the back room as a bedroom, that on a floor plan doesn't make any sense, and we need to make sure the flow and the floor plan both make sense through your home, because that's how a buyer falls in love. If they're walking through a home and trying to figure out what room they're standing in, that there's a disconnect straight up, and they're not going to remember your home at the end of the day. So that yes, you can indicate to us what you would love to see, but at the end of the day, the styling discretion really lies with the stylists on site, because they only have the best interests of your property at heart, and they're going to make sure that your property comes up beautifully. No, so our biggest suggestion is head out to go have a cup of coffee. Workplace health and safety does dictate that you're not on site while our boys are on site. There are companies that say there are no external companies or external people allowed on the premises while we're installing. There are components to that can make it tricky. We would much prefer you though to head out and go get a coffee and come back and see your home the way that your buyers see it, transformed. You see where the dollars have been sent and you see why property styling can have an impact and how it can have an impact. All right, so this is all of a floor plan as well as a consultation. So if there is a floor plan that has the measurements, we can very easily be able to come together with the size of the furniture that needs to go into a home. If a stylist has been on site, we then obviously have that additional information of being on site and knowing the scope of your home. Now, say that we sent a 3-seater sofa and it was on-site. It wasn't an on-site consultation. We quoted off a floor plan and looking at the images on realestate.com. And say we get on site and you've got really narrow doorways or a very small lift, and these are things that we haven't seen, and our sofa doesn't fit. It doesn't mean that we make it work. It doesn't mean that you don't get a sofa. It means that it's on us to come up with a workable solution. And that means we get a different size sofa to your property because we're never going to leave it unfinished or without a sofa. And it's not your problem to be passed on with an extra delivery component to that. That is our problem to make sure it works. So we will do the extra to make sure that it comes together beautifully. So that's never a concern for any of our clients. All right, so on the day you can expect to see an army of people turn up to the property. You will have our logistics, you'll definitely have a truck on site. You'll have one, if not two stylists who turn up. You will have these people on site for at least an hour, and then the stylist will be there for the additional time afterwards. You will have organised chaos that then becomes perfection as it all comes together at the end, which is one of the biggest reasons we suggest to head out to have a coffee. So I would expect that you can expect to have an amazing breakfast and then come home to see your home transformed, ready to go to market and ready for the photos that afternoon. All right, so we call this integrated styling. So integrated styling is where you're living in the property and, well, you may be living in the property, but we are at least incorporating some of your furniture. Whether or not that be a bed, an entertainment unit, a TV, most people have pieces of furniture that we can incorporate into the styling. Now, you absolutely can live in the property. We have the insurances to allow that to happen. Now, if you've got kids, I would probably... Like I have 4 kids, I wouldn't be styling my house. There would just be a layer of stress, having everything made sure it's absolutely perfect, making sure the kids don't put their spaghetti bolognese on a rug, like all those sorts of things that you've got to consider. So the stress component, but you can, and we do have plenty of owners that do. So we have different strategies to help make it stressless for an owner. So for example, we purchase you linen. You keep the linen, it stays on your bed, then we don't need to wash the linen and you don't have to stress about remaking the bed all the time. We send you through images. We have a catalogue of images that are also available to help you replicate what we've done. So absolutely you can. It does provide a more unique and personal end result. It's not just styled furniture from our inventory going into every single home. It's different. Integrated home is one of my most favourite things to do, seeing the reaction of the homeowner when they come home, seeing how they could possibly live in their home. And we have had owners who have taken it off the market following us styling it. So for me, it's quite rewarding. However, there is a lot of work in the back end to make it happen. We have over $4 million worth of inventory, and that is intentional. We've done integrated styling since the first day that we've started our business. So we have furniture that will work with almost any style. There will be some that we won't have available, and I'm very open and transparent on that. I'm not going to quote on a job that I can't do the home justice for. So I will let you know if we're not the right styling company for you. That being said, I haven't had to have that conversation with anybody yet. They've all come up absolutely beautiful. If we are using your bed in the install, absolutely. If we are hiring in a bed, then no. Our beds aren't made to be slept on. They aren't all the layers of comfort that you would see in a standard mattress. They are reduced comfort to make them particularly light for our boys to be able to handle them in and out of properties every day. So unless you want an extremely uncomfortable night's sleep, I wouldn't be sleeping on a mattress. When we do a consultation, we will let you know what pieces need to be hired, what's going to be used, and what's going to be stored. We're going to send you through a checklist. That checklist will let you know what pieces we need off-site under the store category. Some of them we might pop into the garage. For other clients, they do get them off-site, Storage King or National Storage. Honestly, it depends on what it is. If you need to use your garage, if your garage has a man cave that is a selling point, those sorts of things are the factors that decide whether or not you're taking it off-site or using your garage. 95% of our owners use their garage, and it's not a problem. All right, so we don't stock these in-house. They need to be tested and tagged, and we are not doing that. So we use Hireworks. Roger from Hireworks, he's phenomenal. So we outsource it. He'll get it on site. Depends on where you are, though. He doesn't deliver out to Ipswich. He also doesn't deliver out to Bayside. But we will get a third party in to help us with those situations. White goods are the one thing, though, that you really do not need to bring in. They're the one thing that most people can see, understand, and it's something that we're not too worried about unless you've got a particularly small fridge hole. We will send both options through, but budget has to dictate some of the decisions. I honestly don't know the split, but I think 70% would go with a full style and maybe the rest would go with just having the master bedroom styled. That is very much down to the budget, but there are rooms, it depends on the bedrooms 2, 3 and 4. Are they funny shapes? Are they elongated? Do we need to show that they can actually fit a double bed in there? Is downstairs legal height? Do we actually need to get anything down there? Because is it even going to be marked as anything on a floor plan? There are a lot of deciding factors into those decisions, but we will standardly present 2 options. My thoughts are that those conversations about how much somebody loves your home happen the furthest point away from the real estate agent. That's generally going to be in bedroom 4, right down the end of the hallway. Now, if you're having those conversations and spending most of the time in a room that isn't dressed, that isn't staged, where you can see the imperfections in that room, you don't want that. You want that completely distracted from those conversations to be focused on how much they love the home, not trying to convince them that they don't. Both properties, we're going to bring some sort of lifestyle styling. Kitchens and en-suites focus in every single realestate.com listing. They're an important room. They're an important decision in making the decision as to whether or not to purchase that home. So they definitely have styling. Now, what's in those cabinets, what's in those rooms doesn't actually really bother us. My advice when we walk through a home is to try and empty out your drawers and trying to empty out your wardrobe so much that you can actually see the back wall of the wardrobe and the bottom of the drawer in the cabinets. If your drawers and your cabinets are overflowing, that's going to be an issue. The buyers, when they're inspecting your property, they are going to look into the cupboards. They're going to want to know what's in there behind those wardrobe doors. Are they built in? Do they have anything in there behind there? So they're going to look. So expect that, but also anticipate the thought process that, hey, is there enough storage here? I need to make sure that it presents well. So we don't actually do that component. We won't style up the wardrobe for you. We don't declutter it or take anything out of the drawers. That's 100% on part of the preparation to get us there. And we're more than happy to give the guidance for it. But we do bring little accessories for the vanity and towels. Pets aren't an issue, however, there might be some situations where we'd be less inclined to provide a quotation. So for example, we've had some properties where we've gone and there's been 5 cats, and you can see the cats love the furniture. And it's not a reflection on the homeowner, but I know that there are going to be issues come the other end of that hire period with cat marks and the pulling and all the pieces that may come with our sofa. I also know that there's going to be issues with our rugs. Our rugs get cleaned. They have a bleach element in the cleaning. The cats are drawn to that. So regardless of whether or not they're house trained, they'll want to mark that rug. So we do have a very clear conversation with our homeowners because pet damage isn't covered under insurance, but it's just good open lines of communication. So really, honestly, it depends on the animal, but we're going to, again, be transparent at the start. It's not something we're going to surprise you at the end. No, I'm a really big believer that's a pain in the butt. Our real estate agents don't have enough time to bring that outdoor furniture in and out. They don't want to be responsible for bringing the cushions and restyling it. They don't have the time for that. Our furniture has fantastic guarantees. We pay the extra for our outdoor furniture to allow it to sit out in the sun. It gets fully cleaned in between. All of those things are not issues for us, so absolutely leave the furniture outside. It is not your worry.